Happy Wednesday morning to you, the race fans. Another episode of the Announcer's Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics is about to hit the airwaves, and we have a great show for you today. We're going to recap what happened this past weekend for the opening of Wagner Speedway and Houston Speedway, as well as what happened in Boone just a few weeks ago with the World of Outlaws, Morton building late models, and what's happening this weekend at the racetracks here locally. Also, Clayton Christensen is on the show to talk about his career in racing, and we have the Orange Salvage Question of the day. All this and more coming up next on the Announcer's Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And a very happy Wednesday morning to you, race fans. How is everybody doing? My name is Scotty Too Hottie, and welcome to the Announcer's Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And man, episode 13 is here already. And yes, cannot wait to bring you today's show. We got a lot going on. Things have gotten busy, not only with the show here, but out in the world at the racetracks. Tracks have been opening up. My schedule has been busy with some days I think I am about to work myself to death, but there's nothing wrong. And, they say hard work never killed anyone. We'll find out after this season. But no, very, very great to be here with you, the race fans, here on this lovely Wednesday morning. And hope you are all doing well. And I got to give a big special shout out here to a friend of mine. Courtney Plow is number one. Like I said, very good friend of mine. She is amazing. She does a lot of behind the scenes work for the show. So you hear me talk here each and every week. She is the one that gives me topics to talk about, questions of the day. She is scheduling guests for the show. Clayton Christensen, the guest that we have on today, she was the one that scheduled him for the show. So if you are getting messages from our Facebook page, or if you're messaging our Facebook page and getting replies, more than likely 99% of the time you are talking to Courtney. So Courtney, thank you so much for everything you do for the show and all behind the scenes work. I could not do this without you. You are the best. Thank you so much. Also on the show today, like we said, Clayton Christensen out of Spencer, Iowa, driver of the 1CC car, going from modified in his career to sprint car just a couple years ago. So we'll be talking to him today about his career. But first, let's recap this weekend and what happened out there in the racing world. A lot of tracks opening up around our area. Wagner Speedway in Wagner, South Dakota, they opened up with their regular racing program under the IMCA sanction this year. The past few years, Wagner has been unsanctioned, and now getting the IMCA sanction. And they had a great opening night, 51 cars. Some drivers were there checking out the track and wondering what they're going to be doing this year. And other drivers coming to the track and having a great time. And some very, very tough competition this year, I feel, for the Wagner Speedway. Hats off to everyone there, Rod Pattison, as well as Kyle, Kevin, Doug, Flagman, everyone working at the all-new Wagner Speedway. Great opening nights. Cannot wait to go back there this Friday as well. Saturday, I-90 Speedway in Hartford, South Dakota was supposed to have their opening night, and sadly, Mother Nature had different plans. So Saturday night rained out for I-90 Speedway. And then Sunday night, a wonderful thing happened. The long-awaited opening day, Mother's Day opening day, mind you, for Houston Speedway. Houston Speedway opening on Mother's Day for their regular season, their first full season since the track sit dormant since the 2016 season. So great to see Houston's back up and running. You can catch all of that action on Dirt Vision. My friend Sean Neested had the call from there, and I talked to him. He said it was a great show. It felt good to be back at home, and everyone, not only at the track, but everyone in the area looking forward to the full season at Houston Speedway. So could not be more grateful for that. Also on Sunday, the new Raceway Park in Jefferson, South Dakota had almost had a rain out. They received a lot of rain, but the track crews went to work and said, you know what, we are going to race tonight. And that's exactly what they did. The crews worked really hard. The track did get rough. And during the middle of the heat races, they got the grader out, graded the track, got right back to racing. It did get a little bit rough again throughout the night, but the racing was great. Hats off to Steve Corrali, the promoter, and all of the track crew there as they got the races in, and phenomenal job. So they did a very, I just can't say enough about them. Just cannot say enough about them. So that's what happened this past weekend. If you're looking to watch any past races, you can see some of those on AdvantageRacing.tv, RacewayPark.tv. Dirt Vision has Houston's, I believe, and a lot of tracks did not run Saturday due to Mother Nature, unfortunately. But some great racing this past weekend in the South Dakota area and in the Iowa area as well. Rapid Speedway ran. Very, very great show. Some front runners not having the best of luck as, I don't know, it's just the bad luck bug seemed to hit just about everyone this weekend as well, but the action and racing was still great. So you can check all those out, like I said, on AdvantageRacing.tv or RacewayPark.tv, and look up Dirt Vision for Houston's as well. Great programs going on. We'll be telling you what's coming up this weekend later on in the show for upcoming events, but we are going to take a quick break here, hear from one of our advertisers in Fort Orange Salvage, and when we come back, it'll be the Fort Orange Salvage question of the day, and that's happening right after this.
Evicted tenants leave a mess behind? Have an old appliance that you're tired of staring at? Yard waste, branches, carpet, old furniture, other discarded items you just want gone? Well, Fort Orange Salvage can take it all away. Call Jamie at 605-376-8532 for a quote today, or you can find him on Facebook by searching Fort Orange Salvage-Junk Haulers. Contractless payment through Venmo or PayPal is also available. Quick, easy, and affordable junk hauling. Fort Orange Salvage. We pick things up and we take them away. Serving Sioux Falls, South Dakota and surrounding areas.
And welcome back to the Announcer Booth Podcast presented by Rapid Graphics and Fort Orange Salvage. Cannot say enough about Jamie and the business there. One of the best in the business. If you need anything picked up and taken away, like the advertisement said, give Jamie a call. He'll be more than willing to come down and help you. And yes, very great guy to do business with, and sponsors several race cars in our area as well. So a big thank you to Jamie and Fort Orange Salvage for helping out with the program here. And that brings us to the Fort Orange Salvage question of the day. And the question was, whether you heard it from TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Yes, we have Twitter now, by the way. So check us out on Twitter. The question was, what is the thing you look forward to the most when you are at the racetrack? A lot of great answers came in, and we're going to start with Facebook here. And Josh Blom says, looking forward to the track to get away from everyday life. The excitement of trying to be faster and better every week, seeing friends it would never have come along if it weren't for racing. Releasing the stress of the week when you put that loud pedal to the floor. Josh Blom driving a sport mod in the IMCA division. So, yes, that is, as a former driver, I can definitely say I agree with that 100%. Austin Lloyd, the voice of the Jackson Motoplex in Jackson, Minnesota, also the pit reporter for Houston Speedway, says, standing next to a 410 sprint car and listening to it idle in the pits before the races. Ah, yes, there's nothing like putting heat in a sprint car motor. And, yes, that is definitely a great sound to hear, especially just before the night gets kicked off. Moving over to TikTok now, Jordan Van Westen says, seeing all of your friends and competitors. Trent says, the smell of burning fuel and hanging out with some of my buddies. Trevor says, great door-to-door racing. One and done driver says, putting on a show on the track and the fried food. Absolutely. The track food is the best. I mean, you can go to any racetrack, order just about anything. It's so good. Cannot say enough about track food. T. Christensen says the World of Outlaws at Knoxville. That's what he looks forward to each and every year. Thomas Brewer says watching some great racing by great competitors. Always a good race when they're side by side at the finish line. Our friend Cody says spending time with friends and family and also how much stuff I can tear up while on the track as well. Austin Brands, he's been on the show already, says, spending time with Grandpa Leon for sure. Win or lose, it's always a good time when Grandpa's there. Absolutely. Great, great friends. Not only that you make at the track and in the racing world, but the family involved in it as well. So I could not have said that better myself, Austin. James says, I don't get to that anymore. We have 2 racetracks near me, but I always got to work, but always love spending time with the friends and family there as well. Absolutely. Bobby says, used to be a fire safety crew at my local track, and I love seeing my track's family every weekend. And finally, Jared Jackson says, getting better every weekend and trying to beat my goals every week. Moving to Instagram, Nate Meyer said, always looking forward to the track and our local weekend warriors putting on a great show. Absolutely. So that is the 4 Orange Salvage question of the day, brought to you by 4 Orange Salvage. The 4 Orange Salvage of the question of the day next week. This one actually came from Courtney. I couldn't think of anything, and I said, Courtney, I need a question of the day. And she's like, I got a good one for you. So kudos to Courtney for coming up with this one. The question of the day is, which legendary driver across all fields would you love to hop in a car with and just take some laps with around the track? They could be passed on, they could still be living, but which legendary driver would you love to hop in a car with and just take some laps? So that is the 4 Orange Salvage question of the day for next week. Be sure to look for the video on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as that will be the 4 Orange Salvage question of the day for next week's episode. What legendary driver would you love to hop in a car with and just go out and turn some laps? We're going to take another quick break and hear from 2 other advertisers here in Rapid Graphics, our title advertiser, and the Sodak iRacing Series. And just on the other side of this break, we will hear from Clayton Christensen and what his career has been like in the modified and then transitioning over to the sprint car. So stay tuned to hear from Clayton Christensen right around the corner.
Rapid Graphics, located in Rock Rapids, Iowa, on the corner of Highway 9 and 75, specialize in graphics and signage of all types. They specialize in indoor and outdoor signage, banners, commercial vehicles, custom logos, race car graphics, and much, much more. Rapid Graphics have the tools to get your job done, and you can find them easily on Facebook at Rapid Graphics 12. For more information, contact Rapid Graphics for all of your custom graphic and signage needs today.
The Sodak iRacing League is the premier iRacing league for drivers, crew members, fans, and sponsors in the tri-state area around South Dakota, Iowa, and Minnesota. From street stocks to super late models, modifieds to sprint cars, the Sodak iRacing League does them all. You can follow all of their seasons live and free on Advantage Racing TV. For more information, look for Sodak iRacing on Facebook or join the league by searching for Sodak under the Leagues tab on your iRacing account.
And welcome back to the Announcers Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And a big thank you to them for being the title advertiser here on the Announcers Booth podcast. If you need some race car wraps done, some canvas prints, some stickers done, Blake is definitely the guy to call there at Rapid Graphics. So go check them out on Facebook, Rapid Graphics 12. Facebook.com/RapidGraphics12 to find more information. And the Sodak iRacing Series, great league of drivers around the tri-state, quad-state area here. Put on great shows whenever they have raced. Still waiting on word for a season, so hopefully maybe a fall season coming up for the Sodak iRacing Series. But Troy Schurz does an amazing job with that, and just a great lot of talent there behind the wheel. So going into the Sodak iRacing Series phone lines now is a driver out of Spencer, Iowa, sprint car driver that is, and Clayton Christensen lives out of Spencer, and he's been racing for about 20 years, and he's been racing a lot of things, modified, sprint car, and he's just having fun doing it. So without further ado, here is the interview with Clayton Christensen. So making his way up to the announce booth now, driver out of Spencer, Iowa, the 1CC sprint car, Clayton Christensen, had a very good career so far and still going and still behind the wheel. Clayton, thanks for coming on the show, man. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah, no problem. Nice to be here.
So, just a couple of stats I just want to start out with. You've run modified, you've run sprint car, about 50 wins in your career so far. Winner of the 2007 Harris Clash, the same year also winning the Jackson Nationals, and also a Hawkeye Dirt Tour race winner at Hancock County in Britt. How many years have you been doing this, and just where did it all start for you in that one double C?
Yeah, it's been close to 20. I think it's 20 years this year. It doesn't seem like that. It's kind of crazy to think back and starting out. It was kind of me and my dad. He had never raced, but it had taken me to a lot of races between up in Jackson, Minnesota. And he was originally he went to a lot of the late model races back in the 70s with Shyrock and like Hovengay and Bob Hill and those type of guys. And that class kind of died out and sprint cars kind of took over. And then he started taking me to sprint car races in the, probably mid 80s, late to mid 80s. And then we started going, he took me to Knoxville Nationals. And so that was kind of my thing, for about 10 to 15, somewhere from about the age of 10 on through high school, we went to the Knoxville Nationals every year. So that was kind of a father-son deal that we would do and look forward to. And honestly, if you would have told me back then, anytime growing up, that I would be in a race car, I probably would never believed you. It was just never seemed even on the radar of anything we could do. I drove around on, go-karts, but didn't race them, motorcycles, four-wheelers, everything around the farm that we could. I always dreamed of being, out there, but never thought it was an option. And I was a big sports guy. Still am, but big sports guy, and through the years in high school, and got to college and was actually on a scholarship for football up at South Dakota State. And things didn't work out there for various reasons. I got injured and just other things happened, and ended up transferring to Iowa State and didn't play anything there. And I was really honestly kind of lost on what my life was. You went from a lot of dedication and work on sports side of things to like not having that. And I was really kind of lost, and my dad kind of saw that, and I don't really honestly know where he got that idea, but says, well, how about we try to race? And the first thing we did, we ended up getting a B mod. It was a regular modified, but we turned it into a B mod. That was even before they had sport mods at the time. So we had a Harris chassis, and for 2 years we raced this B mod, and started out really knowing nothing, and I still don't know how much I know, but really started from scratch and just started asking questions. And the internet was in full swing at the time, so you could find out quite a bit of stuff online, but going to classes and just talking to the right people, and you just kind of start learning and beating your head against the wall a little bit, but
right.
It's just kind of snowballed into what we ended up doing, really. So it's been a fun journey.
And it's still going. I mean, you're still racing, going from the modified to the sprint car. What was that change like, making the jump from the bodied car to these winged warriors, as some people call these sprint cars? What was that transition like, and how has the change been overall for you so far?
Honestly, it's been, I thought it was going to be tough, but it's been tougher than I thought. You get pretty good at something and you don't really do anything else. I wasn't jumping in other cars or other type of things. I was just doing that modified, and we had our brains wrapped around how that thing handled pretty darn well by the end of it, and what we needed to do. And you go and, honestly, I kind of just, before I quit or stopped this racing deal, I wanted to just hot lap or get in a sprint car, because again, it goes back to my dad stuff, when we were going to Knoxville Nationals, and just always being like, what would that be like to sit in one of those things? It was just, and I really just want to hot lap something. And talking to Jody Rosenboom over at, Rosie's Raceland and stuff, and been kind of friends with him for a while. And, he's kind of like, well, he's kind of working on something there. And then he had actually, I didn't mention this, but he rents out midgets for the Chili Bowl.
Oh,
he
yeah.
has a couple rides, and
yep.
I'd seen that. I'm like, oh, I kind of always admired that too. I'd never been there, but always really followed it because that ties into the sprint car stuff too. And so I followed all that, knew all about that. And again, Sammy Swindell, there's a reason I'm a number one is because Sammy Swindell, he is obviously, him and his family has obviously had great success there at the Chili Bowl. So it just kind of all of a sudden he posted on Facebook, like still looking for, to fill a seat in this car. And I texted him, hey, what's this all include, and just started snowing. All of a sudden I had a ride for the Chili Bowl, So that was another, 4 years, was that 4 years ago that kind of happened, or 3.5, 4 years ago. And I still wasn't thinking about the sprint car yet, but that happened. And that was an eye opening, like, holy cow, I'd never been anything with so much power and so light. We were, 450 horse or somewhere in that range, and we weighed 800 pounds or something. It's like it's just crazy. And it was like, I almost didn't think I could do it. And we had a practice before the Chili Bowl and at DeCoin, and I flipped, so I didn't think it was going to go well. But then Chili Bowl itself, and that's a whole nother story there. But that all went really well. I didn't do great, but I didn't expect to do great. It's almost impossible to think you're going to be competitive in there, getting in there one time. And but it was an awesome experience, and another one of those bucket list things I was able to do that's just awesome, just to say I've done that. And so anyways, but then you start talking to sprint car guys, and that's a lot of sprint car things there, and you just start, and the 305 thing you could kind of see come, a little bit of momentum around this area. I know it's been big, further south than Texas, and you could kind of see it creeping this way, and you start looking into it. Even my dad was a little hesitant on the Chili Bowl thing, but he kind of was, me and him, it's been us since the beginning, it's just me and him talking and working on things. And it just, like, he was kind of behind it a little bit and said, well, let's try this 305 thing. So, we thought we could get into it at a decent price. It ended up being a little more expensive than we thought with the motors and stuff, but
usually is with racing. Yep.
It just is. Anything you think you're going to get into it, I don't know if it was double on the motor price, but well, you could, but it is what it is. And, I was glad to get into it. And, that first year we tried to do both of them, and I knew that would be tough. It just drives so much different, especially these 305s, or the sprint cars in general, but 305, if there's any grip, you're not letting off the gas, and to go into the corner, I could count on my hand probably how many times I've flat footed in a modified, and it's not too many, it's not very many times, so even when it's fast, you're at least dumping the throttle, stabbing the brake, and then back in the gas. And that's just not at all what that sprint car needs. And I still say it to this day, but I think if we were doing wingless sprint car racing, I would probably be a little better at that than I would be the wing, because the wing just is so much of the what happens with the car and the downforce and how it acts on it, and how the darn thing rolls to the left rear rather than the right front, like the mods are all pinned on the right front. And honestly, it's been a difficult deal for me to do, 17, 18 years of running something and then trying to run that. And I'm getting it, but it's also been tough. We've had bad luck with just mechanical stuff, some motor things that have just been fluke, not even really anybody's fault, just bad thing, So in these 3 years now, this is the fourth year, but 3 years prior, I'm under 30 races. I'm probably in the 20 range or 20, 25 range of nights out, and half of those have been issues. So we didn't even run, so when you're not running great, or, the motor's not running, whatever's not running great, you're not getting seat time that's worth anything. So it's unfortunately been a really tough go of it the last couple of years, and a little bit humbling from being, going to the modified tracks and, knowing you're not going to win all the time, but, feeling you have a shot to win about every time you go somewhere, even with some bigger hitters. And, it's just been a frustrating deal not to always be up front. And we're hoping, last year was kind of a lost year with COVID. My dad had some cancer stuff we dealt with last year. So it's just, I was almost ready to quit this year and be done with it all, because I just kind of tired of it. And but we've went, after this year started open, we've been out twice already with the 305, and kind of have things, the finishes haven't been awesome by any means, but we finished and we figured out a couple things that we had issues with, and kind of reinvigorated my, kind of love for, working on these things and thinking about them. I think that's what me and my dad have always enjoyed the most. I mean, the race is awesome. Don't get me wrong. That thrill of being in that and everything, but the getting home and like, okay, what can we do better? What's just theory and what does the car need? What do I need? All that. He enjoyed it. My dad enjoys that. Like, I mean, I think he loses more sleep with the race car than he does on our farming side of things, because he's just thinking about it all the time. So
right.
That's what we really enjoy. And hopefully we try to go out this year. And I think we're going to try to race, try to get to that 20, 25 race deal, times this year, which would be almost double what I've done, so that would really help just get in the groove. And, it's a little harder to find nights to race. I can find 1 or 2 a week, but it's just not the options that the modified and those other, those IMCA, regular style cars would have,
Right.
that I'm in a good spot with those tracks that within a mile or an hour and a half, I could, I got 5, 6 options and, just don't quite have that with the sprint car right now. So,
but even through the hardships, though, that you've endured, still a dream come true to watching sprint cars, like you said, when you were a kid growing up, going to the Knoxville Nationals, now getting in a sprint car yourself. So really a dream come true for you. What's it like then moving forward from this point? Like you said, 20 nights you'd like to hit this year. How many years do you still plan on doing this?
Well, like I mentioned, I was like content with quitting after this year. I think the only big thing, I've been blessed. I've been able to win races. I got to win the Harris Clash, which was at Knoxville at the time, which, if you could have told me any race I could have ever won, in what the realm of what I was running, that would have been the race. It wouldn't have been Super Nationals. It wouldn't have been this or that. It would have been the Harris Clash in Knoxville. And to win that, I mean, that's like my one hit wonder, my, a band that hits it, and I was, honestly, I still in shock that we had a really good car and we won that, but I don't think we were anybody's favorite. And, so I've done some awesome things, and to race a sprint car is another bucket list deal. The Chili Bowl is in the bucket list deal, and I mean, the only thing that's kind of in the side, the back of my mind is I haven't had a win in the sprint car, and I would just really like that. I think I'd feel a little incomplete. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know financially how I can do it. I got to be a little better with sponsors, but I would really like to race at the Knoxville Nationals. Again, kind of like the Chili Bowl, no, we're not going to be competitive, but if I could go there and feel like I'm in control of myself, I'm not putting anyone else in danger, and go and compete at that. Originally, I was trying to do it this year. I don't know if that'll happen. Again, that finances on that side of things with the motor and stuff, are kind of tough to overcome. So,
right.
So if there's anybody out there looking to, sponsor a 410 engine for the Knoxville Nationals, that'd be, you can hit me up anytime. But that I think those are my 2 things. Now the win I can't always control. I can just do the best I can, but I could, do the Knoxville deal. And again, it wouldn't just be like a show up in a 410 and go do it. I'd like to maybe race at Jackson because I'm kind of comfortable there. It's a little smaller with a 410, and then maybe go down once or twice, a couple previous weekends down there. There's been talk of 360, maybe do the 360 Nationals, but again, that's another motor you got to have somehow. And, the 360, it gets me another step closer in speed and everything, but it really doesn't do me, it's not something in me that I want to do a 360. If somebody would have something I could use, it would, be another nice little step. But if we could get a 410 somehow, and there is a 410 race at the Clay County Fair this year, which would be a cool deal for me. I know the track, the track in Spencer here, my home track. I've raced probably more laps there than anywhere, and that would be a really fun deal. But again, that's a 410 race, and we'd have to have a motor for that. So we'll see what happens. I'm not originally kind of had some expectations to get that stuff done, so that after this year was over, if I wanted to quit, I could be done with it, and right. Not have any second thoughts or anything that I hadn't done that I really wanted to, so that's kind of where we are right now. We're just going to try to have fun and race what we can and see what happens after that.
Yeah, that's really what the sport is all about, going out and having fun and just learning every step of the way. I had someone tell me one time, I've been racing for, probably about 25 years now, and I'm still learning about, these race cars and, learn something new at the track every night you race. So it's always a learning experience, and you can never have enough knowledge about this sport and just doing what you love.
Yeah, you learn every time. Even in the modified, however many years we've done that, you're always learning something new is coming along, and trends change. Now they've got these load sticks, and it's all, you don't even hardly scale those cars anymore, which is crazy. I mean, you do, but you don't. And so that changed. And even, I was just getting out of it kind of when that stuff was hitting, and I kind of look into it now here and there. I try to stay up on a little bit, and I'm like, wow, that's really neat. Stuff we were guessing on and theories and stuff that we were guessing on, they've got data to just show it. Here it is, so it's like, whoa, that would have been awesome, 10 years ago. Like we would kind of mock up things, and get the car into roll and, see what it was on scale, but it wasn't exactly what was actually happening. So to see things that just happened there in a couple of years, not even a couple of years. And the sprint car stuff, I was getting tired of the modified deal and the crate running, the crate motors. And I was getting a little burnt out on it. It just wasn't really great fun. And I felt like we knew more than ever. And I was as good as I'd ever been. And, we weren't even as successful. It's tough to compete against some of these guys that are, I don't know what they do for jobs when they're racing 4 times a week and traveling around the Midwest, going to all these shows. And
yep.
I don't know what that got frustrating to me, honestly. And, just that got a little old. So the sprint car was a nice kind of, shot in the arm and something new. There's a lot of new stuff to learn, and that's what I enjoy. Not that we weren't learning the mod, like you said, but sprint car was just nice to learn new stuff, and I'm still learning. Like these magneto. It's a magneto in the darn thing, and there's no battery. It's kind of like, well, what the heck, So it's been the sprint cars herself are so simple, and I kind of enjoy that. They're so. Everything that on there is supposed to be lightweight, fast, and do its job as efficient as possible. And it's just kind of, some of it's old technology, but it's just so cool. And, so that's been fun. It's always fun learning. And I think, again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's always, me and my dad always like thinking about stuff. And I think that's when we do quit, that'll be the hardest thing to get over. And I've got other things that I want to do instead, that I can use some of those attributes to, but it probably, nothing will quite fill that hole like the racing experience does.
And it is quite an experience from, start to finish, from whenever you started it out as a fan and then transitioning to getting behind the wheel and going from one class to another. It's really been, a great ride, and still riding this out as well. And cannot wait to see what you can do in the 305 here moving forward.
Well, yeah, thanks. It's nothing like, from the fan side looking in at the pits, it's a completely different experience when you're on the other side of that fence of those gates. So, I'd always encourage somebody that if you have an opportunity to get in some car, whether it's like the Richard Petty stuff or the wall, things like that, and you can actually see what it's like. 'Cause you can't even explain it to somebody, but what you feel when you're going around like that and how fast things actually happen, some of the slower cars, the hobby stocks or the sport compacts, things are moving fast in there when you get out there. It's just nothing like it, and I think if I went it back to a modified, things would, everything gets faster, and it's just, you get used to that. But being on that side is a completely different thing. And I hope that some of those fans remember that it's not all as easy as it looks when you're up there, looking at from the bleachers.
But still having fun nonetheless, no matter if you have a bad night or a good night, it's still a good night when you can be at the track with friends and family.
Yep. Made a ton of friends with this deal too. That's one thing that just lifelong friends that you'll have that, some of those things you didn't expect going into it. You're just going to go race, and there's guys that you've just, you call really, really good friends that you've met over a lot of years. So.
Absolutely, and just the friends become family after a while, and it's a beautiful thing, like I always say, when the racing family comes together. So, Clayton, want to thank you once again for coming on the show, man. Greatly appreciated, and good luck this season, and good luck to you on all the futures endeavors with the Race Savers.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
So once again, that was Clayton Christensen, driver out of Spencer, Iowa. Lot of great memories in the modified division, now moving to sprint car and making more memories in that. And just awesome story from Clayton there. So we're going to take another quick break, and just on the other side of the break, we will look at upcoming events. So stay tuned after we hear from Advantage Racing TV and AOK Photography.
Advantage Racing TV is your source for local entertainment in the tri-state area. From compacts to late models and sprint cars, Advantage Racing TV has just what you need to cure your racing ailments. Check them out online at www.advantageracing.tv and take advantage of your racing addiction.
AOK Photography and Design is the place for all your photo needs. AOK does racing hero cards, blankets, canvas, racing sponsor photos, as well as other personalized items. Located out of Montevideo, Minnesota, they can get what you need at an affordable price. Check them out on Facebook for more information, and you'll find that their guaranteed service is AOK.
And welcome back to the Announcer Booth podcast presented by Rapid Graphics. And a big shout out to Advantage Racing TV for also being another advertiser here on the show. And AOK Photography and Design. Both of these businesses are one of the best in the business when it comes to photography up and out of the Montevideo, Minnesota area. Alex does a great job with hero cards and everything. He's even come down to our area a few times to take some photos at some racetracks. And Advantage Racing TV, they produce quality product, whatever track they are at. So be sure to check them out on Facebook at Advantage Racing TV and AOK Photography and Design. Also, check out Advantage Racing TV at AdvantageRacing.tv, and you'll be able to go through the whole library of just races that they have done in the past. So be sure to buy yourself a subscription there for access to the whole library and upcoming events as well. So speaking of upcoming events, let's check that out right now. And we've got a lot of races coming up here this weekend. Starting tomorrow, the G-Force Racing Leagues comes to you from Volusia Speedway with the big block modified. Excuse me, I have run out of room to talk here coming to the end of the show. The big block modified is brought to you by Epsilon Sprint Wraps for Thursday Night Thunder for the G-Force Racing Leagues. Check that out on G-Force Esports on YouTube. That happens at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sean Neestat and I will have the call from that. Great series. Check that out. Also, Thursday Night Thunder, real Thursday Night Thunder over at US 30 in Columbus, Nebraska. Go check out that racetrack. Great racing out of Nebraska there. So, beautiful stuff coming out of Columbus. Friday nights, Rapid Speedway hosts a weekly racing series event. Wagner Speedway, also a weekly series event as well. You can catch Rapid Speedway on Advantage Racing TV. Wagner, come to the track, come hang out with us. It's always a fun time. Murray County Speedway up in Slayton, Minnesota, their opener is Friday. Jackson Motoplex in Jackson, Minnesota, their opener is Friday as well. The Crawford County Speedway, you can catch that on Advantage Racing TV if you can't make it there. They have another racing weekly series coming Friday as well. Saturdays, Norfolk, Nebraska Off-Road Speedway is running, as well as the Shelby County Speedway in Harland. I-90 Speedway, you're in for a treat. It is their opening night, as it rained out last week. The NOSA 410 Sprint Show is coming. So the Buffalo Wild Wings NOSA 410s are going to be there. Yes, you gotta come watch the show. The Northern Outlaw Sprint Association, great group of drivers. You are not going to want to miss it at I-90 Speedway. Sunday, the new Raceway Park in Jefferson, South Dakota. They are having a weekly racing series with the repairablevehicle.com Tri-State. Late models will be in the house. They put on a great show each and every time they come there, so you are not going to want to miss out on that. Also, Houston Speedway has a show going on their second week as well, so you are not going to want to miss out on all the great racing that's happening this weekend. Go support your local track and support the local businesses that support local racing. If it were not for them, we wouldn't be here. And bring a friend. Who knows? They just might like it, and maybe they'll bring a friend next time as well. Want to say a big thank you to Clayton Christensen for coming on the show today, and also a big thank you once again to my friend Courtney Plow for working behind the scenes and getting everything scheduled, for coming up with questions of the day and getting guests scheduled. Cannot thank you enough, Courtney. You are the best. Also, a big thank you to our advertising partners. Could not do this without you as well. And a big thank you to Matthew Broadus, Jerry Van Sickle, and Sean Neistat for helping out with the show today. And to you, the race fans, for tuning in each and every week. I love bringing you the interviews and stories here from the Quad State area. You are the reason why Courtney and I do this, and we could not thank you enough. Until next time, as my friend PJ Petter would say, no matter what you do or where you go, please be smart, be safe, and we'll see you here next week on the Announcer Booth Podcast. Have a good day, everyone.